welcome back to the second segment of episode 121 of Sold with Updike Pugh. And what are we going to talk about today?
So it's really interesting. We put these little topics together, and today we thought people need to know who are moving here. 5 things you need to know about moving to Dallas. Again, as we said in the opening of this segment, 5 was the limit. There's probably a ton of them that we can talk about. Innumerable. I didn't know if that was a word, and I paused for a split second. You caught me. So yes, there are a lot of things we could talk about, and so we just thought this would be a quick way for us to run through and talk about some of the things that we love about Dallas.
You know, I think one of the first things that really people are surprised about when they come here is the commuting. You know, if you're moving here from a bigger metropolitan place, we don't deal with quite the traffic level that many of them do. And one of the great things that I've seen evolve over my time of living here since the early 80s is DART.
Absolutely. And there's so many different stations now that they've created up and down 75 and even towards Harry Hines. And they're really great substations that allow you to stop, drop your car off. You can park your bike, or you can put your bike on in certain instances and catch it in. And so the areas around those stations up north towards 75, the value has gone up because they're so easy for everybody to get onto. Yeah. They don't have to commute themselves, and they can do whatever they want, kind of like a big city. The other thing too is we've got great busing systems, and I know it's not public, but Uber in Uptown is amazing.
Yeah. One of the really cool things that we've always enjoyed doing is riding our bikes and riding DART when we go do that, because we can ride over to the DART rail, put our bikes on, and go to an area of town that we have never been to before, and ride around for an hour or so, and then jump back on DART rail and home. And it's a great, inexpensive way to travel around. One of the things that DART also offers is a van pool service. So if you have a small group of people that are constantly commuting from point A to point B and want to subscribe to DART, there is a little bit of an additional fee for it, but it's a really great way to commute with coworkers or people that live in your neighborhood that all might live downtown.
And I think one of the elements of commuting that we all probably take advantage of here that we live in Dallas is the fact that it doesn't take us an extra hour or an extra 2 hours or maybe even half a day to get to the airports. Many times, depending on where you live, it could take up to 5 minutes just to get to Lovefield or to DFW. So that does really make traveling from Dallas amazing.
Yes, absolutely. You can actually ride DART to both airports now.
You can. It takes a little bit longer, but you can do that. It is fun.
So what's our number 2 great thing about living here?
So Dallas loves to eat out.
Really?
It is like a hobby here.
Yeah.
And I really think that the reason why so many people in Dallas eat out is because we don't have the mountains and we don't have the beach, so we have to look for ways to occupy our time. And so eating out, we have some of the most amazing restaurants here. And if I had to pick like one of my favorite steakhouses, I'd say it would probably have to be go to Eddie V's and sit at the bar. It's a really great place. Great sides as well. If you like truffle mac and cheese, it's thumbs up. And then I guess if I had to pick my sushi place, it would be Oishi. I love Oishi. And Oishi is not just a sushi place, but they really have good hot food too. And I think a lot of people forget that.
That is very true. We have fantastic Tex Mex here, whether it is chain Tex Mex such as Gloria's or Uncle Julio's or Christina's. But we also have a lot of those independent Tex-Mex restaurants like Avila's over on Maple Avenue. And it is a hole in the wall, but it is a really, really good hole in the wall.
But what about Ojeda's? Right across the street. Okay, so here, this is getting to know Jeff just a little bit better, so let's take a moment all. So Jeff actually weighs the Mexican food out. Oh, not by chips and hot sauce, not by enchiladas. It's only by the margarita, and we all know it. You can have crap food, but if it's got a good margarita, he's like, let's do it.
It's on the list.
Really? Is that where we're going?
Hey, you know.
It's him.
Our number 3 thing, the really great things about Dallas is we have the Texas State Fair. And the Texas State Fair is such it's got such a great history. It's got such great vibes surrounding it. It is always in the fall. Like this year, they've got it scheduled from September 24th to October 10th, I believe. And it's right at that time of year when people are, homecoming time.
The weather broke.
The weather, yeah, the weather's not hot anymore. Our state fair is one of the longest running state fairs in the country. We actually started back in the 1800s, in the 1880s, running our state fair. And there were actually 2 fairs that our state had at the same time. So they started as one. They broke apart because they couldn't agree on where to go, because the first state fair was at Cole Park right there by North Dallas High School.
Got it. Really?
And then as the fair grew, they knew they needed to move. The fair corporation split, and it wasn't until it was the late 1880s, 1887, that they actually merged back together and decided to buy the land where Fair Park is today.
Interesting. So here's a little bit of information too. Texas OU weekend is played that weekend to go with the state fair. It is historic. It is a rivalry. It is amazing. The other thing too is that Fair Park, I just saw on Everbright tickets, you can buy tours of Fair Park from the architectural standpoint, which is amazing because it has one of the nation's largest Art Deco architectures in the nation. So lots of great information that surround the Fair Park.
That is great segue into our next one, which is talking about the art scene here in Dallas.
Love it.
Yeah, art scene is just kicking it here.
Yep, there's that slide. That's the one we wanted. That's it. So the art scene is amazing. I think that when I first started moving here in about 2007, 2008, it really was kicking off that they were going to create the art district, and Valletta Lil was so instrumental in organizing that and really keeping that on track. And it has done an amazing thing for Dallas. And we've seen everything from the museums come into the performing arts, the opera, and then it's actually flown into downtown and into the design district, where we have the owner of the Jewel who actually spent all of that money to create the park and put the giant eyeball. And it has really just created this element of Dallas that it's seeing differently now across the nation.
And it extends well beyond the arts district, which is wonderful, because if you head to the east of there and you go over into Deep Ellum, you've got not only this really cool collection of small galleries and lots of starting out artists that have their stuff displayed, but you've got all that really incredible street art over there.
It's amazing. And just so you know, I want to plug the Modern. It is in Fort Worth, but if you're ever at Fort Worth, the Modern is one of the most amazing museums to go to in Texas.
I would totally agree. The last thing we want to talk about that was one of the great things about moving to Dallas is we have so many different neighborhoods and such a variety of things, and they just continue to get better and better all the time.
It is great, and that there are so many different characteristics of the neighborhoods. Like Lakewood is known for being its proximity into the lake, White Rock Lake there, and having that as a backbone and the trails that it comes with. You can go over to Oak Cliff, and the quickest way that we can describe Oak Cliff is it's like Dallas's version of Austin. So there's a lot of elements here that when you get to know the characteristics, it's so much fun.
It is. And one of our other really great areas is called Uptown, and Uptown is on the northern side of downtown. It was back in the early 90s. It was a really kind of a rough part of town. Rosewood was one of the first people that built their big Rosewood Crescent Court Hotel there, and over the course of those years, they developed a public improvement district. They have really changed that area into a much more vibrant, much more dense section of the city. But again, you've got so much access, whether it's through Uber, whether it's through the McKinney Avenue trolley, whether it's through any of the DART light rail that runs. It's such a wonderful, wonderful part of the city.
And there's so many emerging markets, areas that weren't as hot, like Haskell. There's a little area just north of Haskell to the east of 75, the L Streets, which are coming on. The prices over there have changed dramatically. The Bird Streets, that is a huge thing. Bluffview has always been known to Dallas, but I feel like it has just expanded in price point and size of homes like never before.
That's very true, very true, very true.
Well, we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed all of this. We'll certainly be bringing more things about great reasons to move to Dallas to you, and we appreciate you joining us with your lunchtime today.
And remember, we want to be your realtors for life.